I'm Araceli Canedo Bebbington. I am an executive coach and a board member and a former senior executive in the financial sector. And in this episode, you're going to discover a little bit more about my own personal journey. And also, I hope you will be inspired by the fact that it's never too late to take bold decisions in your career and more broadly in your life. So looking forward to connect with many of you.
Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show, your number one destination for exclusive insights into transforming your career and leadership journey. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we're going to be diving deep into the power of change with a guest who embodies transformation herself. Now, Araceli, how are you doing today?
I'm very good. Thank you. I'm very good. It's summertime in Switzerland, and I'm ready for my summer holiday coming up.
Absolutely. And Switzerland is always known for the skating and ice skating. So if you guys are experiencing summer, what sort of temperatures are you talking about if it's summer for you there?
I mean, as of a couple of days ago, it was 30 degrees, so very nice. Temperature suddenly dropped, but I'm confident it will come. We have a nice summer in Switzerland. People sometimes underestimate because they think Switzerland is more a skiing country, but we have a very nice summer in Zurich.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You see, I'm in Australia, right? So when we're talking summer, we're talking like literally going to the holiday by the sun. You literally just walk around with nothing but your speedos and thongs, and that's the only way that you can operate. Otherwise you'll be burning like somebody in boiling water. But hey, I'm excited about the conversation we're gonna have today. For those that are tuning in right now, this is not the weather report or a holiday destination to the Swiss Alps or places like that. No, we're going to be talking, like I said, about the power of change with a guest that really embodies this transformation herself. Now, I'm talking transformation because Araceli is a executive coach, board member, and also the founder of A Power of Change. And she comes with over 25 years of global leadership experience in the financial sector. And she has now dedicated her life to helping senior executives navigate change and lead with a purpose. Now, her journey from corporate executive to entrepreneur is not just inspiring. It is actually a roadmap for anyone that is seeking fulfillment and impact in their professional life. So we're going to be, going through all of this, but I don't want you to let her impressive resume actually fool you, because Araceli's story is filled with relatable moments. Like, we're going to be talking about the time that she actually refused to clear dishes at her grandparents' house because it was only girls that were asked to do that. So this early spark of challenging the status quo has never left her, and today she actually channels some of that determination to help others break free from limiting beliefs and also embrace their true potential. Now, I could go on and talk about things that I'm not even qualified to talk about. I've got girls, okay? One is 11 right now and another one is 9. And I can hardly get them to want to even eat their own breakfast. What were your grandparents thinking, giving you a duty to take away the dishes at that younger age?
Well, you made me smile, Prosper, because I have a daughter that is 11 as well. And believe me, I couldn't get her to clean the dishes either. Look, I live in Switzerland, but I'm Spanish originally. And I grew up between Switzerland and Spain. And I remember, I used to spend the summer holiday with the grandparents in Spain, with my cousins there as well. It happened that I was the only girl. And there was this, this habit that we would, finish lunch and dinner, and I was the only one asked, to clear the table, and I always refused. And my grandparents, I would still remember that for a long time, and simply because, I didn't feel that there should be a difference, in this case, between being a female or a male, right? But the reason why I think, I brought this up is because it's a good sign of my willingness to challenge the status quo since I was very, very young. And in fact, I'm an only child. My father has always been a very traditional, Spanish father, and we have a very good relationship. But it's always been also, making sure that I'm living my life in my own terms. So, making sure that I follow my own needs and my own decisions, rather than following other people's expectations. In this case, my family expectations. Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. I mean, obviously, parents, grandparents, whenever they assign roles or duties, it's usually because they want to assign responsibility to people and kids and things of that nature. But obviously, in this particular case, it would have been fair to also ask all the other kids that were involved. And I can actually see the little girl going, no, I don't want to say this. So did you say no in Spanish or in French?
Well, actually, in Spanish, of course. That's how I think I'm bilingual, Spanish and Italian, because I grew up in Switzerland in the very small Swiss Italian speaking part. But I have to say, when it comes to my emotions, I generally, communicate them more in Spanish. And that's the language that I speak with my kids as well. So, yeah.
Great stuff. Obviously, I can imagine you growing up, being exposed to all these different cultures and already having to learn different languages. How do you think this early experience of being around different people and different types of culture would have shaped your now leadership style?
Oh, it has a huge influence because, I mentioned I grew up between two different countries, two different cultures, because, Swiss culture and Spanish culture have the differences. And this definitely shaped who I am today, because there was always, a very strong sense of curiosity on my side. And in fact, I started to travel around the world at a very, very young age. When I was a student in the university, I also studied for 1 year in France, in Paris. And again, it was my curiosity, to learn another language and to be in a different environment. Then at some point of my career also, I spent 8 years in London. Again, it was also my desire to have corporate experience abroad. And I really think I shape my leadership style in terms of, being more inclusive, in terms of, working, I really, really enjoy working in an international environment. In fact, the roles that I had in the corporate world, they were always global roles. And when I started to set up my own business, my own coaching practice, I was a little bit concerned that maybe it was going to be reduced to Switzerland, where I live. But no, actually, over time, my clients are around the world. The board role that I have is also a role in a global community. I really enjoy, working with people from different cultures, different perspectives. Is something that really, fuels my energy.
Absolutely. And if you notice, the world has become a global village right now. I mean, me knowing
Yes.
you is through maybe the LinkedIn platform. And I just scroll through LinkedIn. And if you really look, I would probably be in London, America, Germany, France, and then Australia, all in one scroll, just because of the diversity of the people, that are around. Do you think that is a good thing, or it is actually a bad thing because it may, limit the scope of how people can actually progress in life?
I think it's a fantastic thing because there are no barriers, right? I mean, we can connect globally, without, I think, the world is ours, right? I don't see any limitations. I've experienced it as well with my own, coaching business, coaching clients in, everywhere in Europe, in the US, in Asia, in Australia as well. So what I would say is, for me, it's very important to nurture relationships. And I would say that I always try to, to balance as well, the relationships that I build more online, with distance, with the need also of meeting people, face to face, because I really value the human connection, which is why, for example, I started to, speak at different global conferences, different corporate events, where I have the opportunity to meet people face to face. When I travel, for example, to London, I take the opportunity to meet my clients face to face. I didn't tell you earlier, but my husband is Australian. So, if I go to Australia as well, I have the opportunity to meet, some of my clients face to face, because I truly believe in, especially in this, high tech driven world, that, the human connection plays even a stronger role. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, just hearing what you're saying, you do sound like, when your family gets together, it's like, the United Nations, right? Everybody's coming from.
It is actually, we speak different language. In fact, my kids are trilingual,
Mm.
almost fourth lingual, if that's an English word. It is actually, it is. We are very international, and I like that. I like that. I like as well to convey my kids, this feeling that there are no borders. The world is theirs, and I can build relationships anywhere in the world. So yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I would never want to be in your household during a World Cup event or some sort of Commonwealth event, because everyone is supporting a whole different team. But you obviously spent 25 years, climbing the corporate ladder. What sort of roles were you involved in, and what is it that you were doing in this time?
So yes, so my career, actually, to be fair, the very, very early days of my career started more in the academic world, in the research world. But I very quickly decide to move into the financial sector, simply because I found that the research world was very lonely for me, and I'm very people oriented. And to be honest, it was a little bit by coincidence. A friend of mine, we studied together at university, started to work for a bank in Switzerland. She was liking it, and she's like, "Why don't you join as well?" I joined, and it was a great start, because I started to, fairly quickly, I started to have also a role global, outside of Switzerland as well. And that really, motivated me. And then I dedicated my full career to transformation, to change. So I, held different roles, driving different types of transformation, whether it is more around, technology transformation, like, the times of digitalization and so on, whether it was more about, cost transformation. So different type of flavors of change. And for me, I was always very, very focused on, because I also run large global teams, especially at the time when I became a managing director, I started to run large functions, up to 400 people spread, around the globe. And I came to realize, that it was one of the key motivators in my career was to, help others develop, help others to, unlock their potential, and also, to be brave and embrace change. And that's what slowly, brought me into the executive coaching path, because it really brings together these two key drivers in my career. On one side, people, because of, it's a very, personalized work. And on the other hand, it brings change because, I always say which is more transformative than helping people, transform their careers and ultimately their lives.
Thank you so much. Now, you did mention the transition from academia to obviously the corporate world was fueled by loneliness. But Araceli, you were an only child when you were born. Was that not like your happy space where you would find yourself in, just by your lonesome?
No, because I mean, in my childhood, actually, I had so to say, a special childhood because I was born here in Switzerland, but then I did, between 5 and 11, I was actually in a boarding school in Spain. So I was always surrounded, by many, in that case, many other kids, right? And even, I've always been someone that really gets a lot of energy from people. And even, I have to say, when I was in the corporate world, the more senior I was getting and the more lonely you feel, right? Because, you deal with challenging situations, sometimes confidential situations you cannot share with anyone. But I always had my support network around me. People that I can count on. I'm also an extrovert. So to be honest, if I am going through a challenging situation, I don't even need to speak. But I will feel the need to share, my feelings with others. So I wouldn't consider myself, the typical only child.
Absolutely. And then was that pivotal, transition from corporate to now sort of studying your business. What was that moment that then got you to say, you know what, I think this is time for change?
Look, I was, nearly 25 years in banking, and I had a very successful career. I climbed the ladder to the top. I was a managing director in let's be honest, in a very male-dominated environment. So it wasn't an easy, an easy journey. I love my job because I'm a big, passionate of change. I love the teams that I was running, but frankly, over the last few years in the corporate world, I was just feeling like, is that all there is? There was something. I'm turning 50 this year. And I took, by the way, the decision to leave, a couple of years ago. And I was just feeling like, I need to think of a different path, something that, would really keep me going for a long time, because I never, remember with my husband at some point we were talking about, he also works he's still working in the financial sector. We were talking about like early retirement, and I was like, okay, wait a second, I'm not the one who can retire and do nothing. I will need to have a new purpose in life, and that's when over time I was like, well, I had my own executive coaches in the past, and some of them that did encourage me. They were like, look, Araceli, if at some point you would like to do something different, this could be a good path. And in fact, when I was still in the corporate world, I did my first coaching training It was recommended by one of my past executive coaches, and I love it. I mean, it was transformative, and I started to have a couple of clients, and I found myself in this dilemma of what should I do? Because I knew that that was going to be my path. And my next step, it was a question of timing. I was thinking, well, should I stay? I was in the middle of, I was part of the largest acquisition in the financial sector. I was in the middle of that integration work, and I was thinking, should I carry on a few more years and then give it a go, or should I do it now? And after, a few months, one day thinking, yes, I'm going for it. The day after thinking, no, I'm going to throw my career away. I just decided, you know what, life is too short. So I'm going for it. And that's what I did.
Absolutely, and congratulations. But you see, when you're working in a corporate environment, you jump into the office, the desk is cleaned, your computer is set to the right ergonomic space, you've got your chair there. When you then go on in your own business by yourself, there will be a lot of things that you have to unlearn and learn and things like that. What were some of the fears that you had jumping into starting on your own?
Well, of course, so the immediate fear was what I mentioned earlier, was the fear of throwing my career away, because I had a successful career, right? I could have carried on, in, so to say, in my comfort zone, right? So for me, there was a fear of, the fear of failure, right? Because I'm leaving, my comfort space to, I'm taking the leap into something where I don't know if it's going to work, right? And then, of course, it's the fear of failure, and it's also the fear of unknown, because when you run your own business, as an entrepreneur, you need to have a very different mindset, right? Is when you work in a corporate, when you have a corporate job, you get a monthly paycheck. When you are an entrepreneur, you don't know, how things are going to plan. And I always say, one of my very first learnings was like, well, look, I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket, right? So I will try. I will, and I'm not actually, that's something that I've never been afraid of. Even in my corporate career, I was always like, when there was a new opportunity, I would be like, yeah, I'm here, I will do it. So with my entrepreneurial journey, at the very early stage, it was the same. I was like, okay, let me try this, let me try that, because I was thinking, well, if that doesn't work, this will work. And that's how I started to build and also organically grow my business. So, yeah, I'm very happy, and, I have no regrets.
Absolutely. And congratulations. I mean, one other thing that also happens when you're starting your business, you're by definition a rookie. You're literally starting from the bottom, maybe whatever level of respect that you were getting from people because of your corporate positions doesn't exist in the new sort of space. And it just makes you a little bit humble or vulnerable, in a way. Now, did you maybe experience any of that? And if you did, how did this transformation now impact the way you're coaching others to continue with their leadership?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very interesting point, because, one of my fears was also the fear of losing my own identity, because the reality is that, I've dedicated always a lot of time, a lot of energy to my job. And somehow, my job has always been a very inherent part of my, of my own identity. And I remember that when I left the corporate world, I was feeling a little bit this, I had this feeling of I'm not there, neither here, right? Because I was in transition. So I was no longer, belonging to the, community of the managing directors in banking, but I was not yet, a well-established coach, right? So the way how I went about was, well, first of all, I started to, because I truly believe in, having all the necessary, qualifications. So I started to do different type of trainings related to coaching, because I wanted to be in a position where I feel good, in terms of my knowledge and my expertise. But then I also started to, reach a series of networks where I could learn. For example, I'm part of a network of entrepreneurs where I could, from different sectors, where I could learn from them on how to go about to set up the business. Or I joined networks of coaches, mentors, also to learn from them, on how did they go about to set up their business. So there was a lot of, it wasn't just learning. I got a lot of emotional support as well from those networks to keep going. Yeah.
I think when you're amongst other people, you get this sense of I'm not alone, and it's a very liberating sort of feeling, because now there's different milestones that you got to hit that are different to sort of the corporate line of thinking. And while I was also looking up your work, some of your clients actually describe the sessions that you have with them as liberating. Now, what do you think sort of contributes to that feeling during your coaching sessions?
Well, I do a lot of work because generally, I work with senior executives and also with, with entrepreneurs. And, very often the reason, of our coaching engagement lies in a more kind of transactional goal. For example, I want to be promoted, or I want to leave my organization because it's a toxic environment. I want to find a new job. Or some people, they are looking for a more, deep transition, in the sense that, for example, they want to move to a completely different sector, or maybe they want even, to become entrepreneurs, right? But then it comes, very quickly, it comes down to, to some inner work that we do especially about fears. Because out of all the various emotions that we might, experience where we are considering any type of transition, fear is the most prominent one. And, we do a lot of work to understand what is, what type of fear do they experience, what is holding them back, what limited beliefs they have from the way, I don't know, they've been raised. So there is a lot of, work that we do on emotions to boost the confidence and also to increase the resilience to keep them going. Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the articles that I saw you've written, it talks a lot about the power of accountability, especially when it comes to leaders and stuff like that. Now, how are you incorporating this into your coaching and also maybe helping your clients achieve their goals?
I think it is one of the points that my clients value the most about our engagements. And by the way, I work in one-to-one settings, but also in group settings as well. And I like the fact that, there is I am the accountability buddy, right? So we work together and then we meet on a regular basis. And there is an element of, progressing with some homework, because when we meet again, we will go through. And I'm a very, always say, in terms of my coaching signature, I'm very caring. So I'm very empathetic. But I'm not afraid of challenge, going back to the beginning of a conversation, right? I really like to challenge my clients in the spirit of their growth, to stretch them. And I'm very results oriented. So I think my clients like the fact that, they feel like, I give them the energy to take steps that they wouldn't envisage, to take otherwise. And the accountability is there on a regular basis. So I think that has been a key a key change of mindset for many of my clients.
It looks like you give people permission to literally step into their leadership role, because a lot of people, if you are now leading at least more than 50 people, 9 times out of 10, most of those people are in remote locations, and so many people now need to be able to, maneuver around those kind of relationships with their people that are in, their subordinates. Now, you've led teams of up to 400 people in your time in corporate. Now, how do you help leaders then build trust and maybe motivate their diverse teams in today's global environment?
Yeah, so I do a lot of work as well with some of the senior executives to strengthen their leadership style. Some of them, for example, that might come more from a old school leadership style, more command and control, right? And we do some work where they can build more trust with their team members. I mean, you mentioned the point of remote working, right? A lot of, most of the senior executives that I work with, they run global teams. So there is a remote angle as well. So it's about building trust. It's about also empowering, others. And it's also a lot about being empathetic and, and having this, emotional intelligence. I also do work about, increasing resilience as well, because the reality is that we live in a very, very fast paced changing environment. And sometimes, some of the senior executives that struggle to cope with this fast pace. And the idea is how they can become more resilient and therefore instill as well this resilience within their own team members.
I think maybe the struggling to cope is predicated on the fact that they don't want to unlearn maybe things that were before, because they maybe have the mindset that we've always done things like this, or I think maybe here in Australia, you said your husband is Australian, right? We've got a statement that says she'll be all right, mate. It will figure itself out. Now, what are maybe some of the misconceptions that people have, especially when it comes to executive coaching, and how do you address them? Because some people might think, I'm all right, I've been doing this for a while, or I've seen other executives doing this. I think I'll be all right.
I think on this point, Prosper, it's well known that adaptability is one of the most important leadership skills. And therefore, I strongly believe that if they are leaders thinking, well, I'm all right because this is how it has worked in the past, unless they adapt, I don't think they are going to be able to survive, in the current environment.
Absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right. Even with the advent of new technology and things like that, if you're not at least leaning into learning or just finding out, you literally have to be running just to stand still these days. So it's one of those things. But Araceli, somebody might think, I don't have an academic background. I don't have 25 years in corporate experience. I don't speak 5 languages. And, I might not be able to do all of the things that you're mentioning. Maybe you can share a success story of a client who actually transformed their career path through your coaching, so that the viewer can actually also envision themselves working, because some people might actually be thinking, oh, this is maybe a little bit too much, for me.
Yeah, very happy to share. I can give you the example. I can give you many examples, right? But I work, for example, last year with a client that was feeling like the company that she was working for has gone through a lot of reorganizations, and she didn't longer feel aligned, to the culture of that organization. She felt some of her values were being compromised, but there was this element of not knowing what to do next. And we did a lot of, work I have developed a simple coaching framework where we start to look at the purpose, what really motivates you, what truly, fulfills you. And that was the first step to identify a little bit or, of her North Star. And, and after that, she found the courage, to leave the company that she was working for and to move into a different sector. She was particularly motivated to do something more in the sustainability space. And, she completely went out of her comfort zone and move. Or I can give you another example of, someone else that I work with, here in the other one was in the UK, but it is in, here in Switzerland, someone working for the same company for many, many years. And he was feeling actually, not very, I don't know, he was feeling that within the company that he was working for, maybe he was putting a little bit, aside, over time, and he still had a lot to offer. And he was still willing to learn a lot. But the loyalty is what was, stopping him from taking any steps. The loyalty and the fear of unknown. Because I remember in our very, very first coaching session, he told me, well, but Araceli, the grass of the neighbor is not necessarily greener, right? So he was feeling like maybe I should just stay where I am. And guess what? Actually, after doing a lot of work to understand how he could overcome these fears, he took the leap and he left the company and he's working for one of the competitors and very happy with with that new career chapter. So what I really appreciate and what I found very, very fulfilling with my clients is that I take steps, in any type of direction. Can be about finding a new corporate job, can be about being promoted to the next level, can be about becoming an entrepreneur. But I really take steps that I wouldn't envisage to take, before our engagement, because I wasn't there, right? So that's what and that's why also a lot of my clients, then they end up becoming friends because we feel like, we are part of the family. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And obviously, it does seem like you are literally giving people their lives back, because you can imagine if this guy just stayed at this job, then he would have missed out on the opportunity of who he then went on and become. Now, for those that are looking for maybe that positive attitude, or the contagious energy that I've been feeling in this conversation today, where can people go to on the where can people go to on the internet to maybe see what it is that you offer and what are you offering?
So, well, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and follow me. I have my website as well. It's called Power of Change. So you can find me there. But also I run regularly a masterclass, a free masterclass. The next one is actually going to be on the 26th of August. Where you can get to know me during 1 hour, the work that I do. And as I mentioned earlier, I run different type of engagements, work on a one-to-one basis. I also work in groups. So, I will be, I hope I convey also the view, during this conversation, Prosper, that I'm very, very approachable. So, you can reach out, we can grab a coffee wherever you are in the world, because sooner or later I will come to your country. And yes, I am very happy to connect.
Absolutely. I'll put all those links to your LinkedIn and to your website in the show notes so that people can actually get started on their journey. Now, Araceli, you've really let us know what it is to have a transformed life. And I think it was Heraclitus that said that change is the only constant in life. You've changed from academia to, you went into corporate and now you're into executive leadership coaching and things of that nature. But what's next? What can people anticipate in the future?
Yeah, I'm always thinking of what's next, you know. I mean, the beauty of this career chapter is that when I left, I was very focused. Okay, I want to do, you know, coaching, but then over time things have happened. You know, I've grown organically. For example, I'm speaking regularly now at global conferences or corporate events about leadership. You know, about navigating change and so on, and I'm loving it. So I'm thinking maybe I should do that. I don't know. Sometimes I'm thinking maybe I should write a book. I have a lot of ideas, but no, I am. Yeah, I am very very happy. You know, with where I am, and I feel very energized. So yeah, more to come. More to come.
Absolutely. I'm really excited for what's about to come, and the fact that there's an opportunity that you might actually be on mainland Australia at some point, by way of your husband. But I can't thank you enough for joining us on this enlightening episode of the Online Prosperity Show today. I mean, your life story and your experience have so much value for those people that are looking just for a mentor or executive coach or just a board member that could actually help them focus on their career path, and especially the fact that you focus on thought leadership. They can learn a great deal from your experience. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prosper, for giving me the opportunity. And thank you as well for creating this very safe space, because I was feeling like we were just having a coffee and a chat. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Now, for those that are watching right now, as you can tell, Araceli's journey just reminds us that it's never too late to embrace change and lead with a purpose. And if her story actually resonated with you, maybe you can consider exploring her Career Confidence Masterclass and the 5-week online program. And you can find all those details in the show notes below, but it is at the powerofchange.com. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content and share this episode with somebody who could actually benefit from Araceli's wisdom. And from what I hear, our next episode, we're going to be discussing ideas to help you lead a more happier and fulfilling life. So stay tuned, or just click the link below to watch the next episode. Until next time, keep embracing the power of change. Bye for now.